Tonight on CTV News, deadly shooting.
I heard a bang, just one bang. Like it was pretty loud.
Violence erupts at a homeless encampment in the Fraser Valley. The killer now on the loose.
With the land being saturated as it is, any kind of wind gusts can bring down trees.
Muddy mess. A closer look at Coquitlam homes hit by a landslide last week. When can residents return?
I've promised mothers and babies I'd be there for them, and it's just a terrible situation, and I just need it resolved.
Patients in limbo. Why a bureaucratic nightmare could force a BC midwife to leave the country.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the search for a killer and a fatal shooting in Abbotsford. A man was suddenly gunned down at a homeless camp overnight. Residents say they heard shouting and then a loud bang. Tonight, many questions are being asked about the conditions and safety of the encampment that sits on provincial land. CTV's Michelle Bernaro leads us off tonight.
In the quiet of night, 2 ambulances arrive at the Whatcom Road Park and Ride.
Oh, I heard a bang, just one bang. Like it was pretty loud. But I just thought it was, I don't know, fireworks or something like that.
But it wasn't fireworks, it was gunfire.
Upon arrival, officers located a man that was suffering from a gunshot wound who was transported to hospital. Unfortunately, the man succumbed to his injury.
Police say they are still trying to determine a motive. The one witness who did not want to be identified told CTV he heard an argument over a drug deal and then a shot rang out.
We believe this incident to be a targeted incident, that public safety in the general area is not at risk. As well, at this time, no one has been arrested.
The camp sits on what is supposed to be a park and ride. Encampments on provincial lands in Abbotsford like this one have long been a concern. Police say they are routinely called here for everything from assault offences to weapons.
What we continue to routinely hear from the community is, why isn't this area being cleaned up? Why are we still seeing what we're seeing behind me? Abbotsford police officers are working with our partners. Services are in these camps proactively.
In a statement, Abbotsford's mayor, who says he's saddened to hear of the killing, stated that the city does not have authority on provincial property. However, he adds that the city has worked closely with BC Housing and has also repeatedly raised concerns with MOTT about conditions at Whatcom and the need for timely, sustained action on provincially managed lands.
We need these areas to be focused, clean, safe and managed for the people that live here and call these areas home.
The Ministry of Housing and Municipal Affairs says its priority is to help people get into stable housing and out of encampments. It also says a cleanup at Whatcom Road this week removed 15,000 pounds of debris from the site. Meanwhile, police say the victim of the shooting lived at the camp. The violence has left other campers feeling shaken.
I didn't feel safe to begin with when I first came, and certainly now it's way different.
As police gather evidence in the killing, some residents say they don't want to stay here. Michelle Bernaro, CTV News, Abbotsford.
Turning now to the aftermath of that huge landslide that swept onto several homes in Coquitlam. Tonight, we show you a closer look at the massive amount of mud and debris that barreled down on homes. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has the latest on the cleanup effort and when residents could return to their neighborhood.
A large log ran through the front window, the entrance to the home completely buried. A close-up view painting a clearer picture of just how fortunate everyone inside was able to make it out alive. Debris has been scattered along the road for days, but the city says things are looking up.
The road has been fully cleared. However, there's still some BC Hydro and TELUS work that needs to occur. We've also got some material either side of the road that we need to get removed.
The GM of Engineering says while progress has been steady, crews did have to take a break Tuesday after some heavier rain rolled in.
We've had geotechnical experts that have been assessing the site and the area and also advising when it's safe to work and when it's not. And they had given us a threshold in terms of rain, and that had been hit at a certain point.
After last week's atmospheric river drenched the area, experts say the ground will be very volatile, especially if stronger winds continue to sweep through the area.
With the land being saturated as it is, any kind of wind gusts can bring down trees quite easily, and that can really impair any of those kind of cleanup efforts.
The city says it's waiting on a final report into the incident and what the future risks may be.
We feel like tomorrow and Thursday we should be able to continue to do work and finalize that with the BC Hydro work and TELUS work. And once that is complete, then we would be able to allow people back up there.
But for the owners of these homes, a timetable for their return is looking a lot more murky. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Coquitlam.
A sad update now on a story we brought you yesterday. One of the 2 hikers rescued near Lions Bay over the weekend has died in hospital. The man slipped and fell about 100 meters. He was trying to climb down to help a woman who fell 20 meters while descending Mount Brunswick with a group of 14 hikers Saturday afternoon. When rescuers got to them, the man was in critical condition and the woman was stable. The BC Coroner's Service today confirming that the man died on Sunday. A GoFundMe page has identified the victim as Yan Chen, known to his friends as Rock. He was reportedly visiting from China. Organizers say he was a kind person, always eager to help others. The GoFundMe has raised just over $40,000 so far. Avalanche Canada is warning of dangerous conditions in parts of the province after slides killed 4 people here in BC on the weekend. 3 heli-skiers, reportedly tourists from Switzerland, were killed in an avalanche near Terrace on Sunday. Their guide was flown to Terrace Hospital and later to VGH, where he is undergoing surgery. Another skier was killed in a separate avalanche much farther north along the BC-Alaska border. Avalanche Canada says it's a reminder people need to be extra vigilant in BC's backcountry.
High elevations in the Selkirks and Purcells, where it didn't rain to mountaintop, as well as portions of the Rockies where it didn't rain to mountaintop. And then certainly Northwest BC, the Yukon, like Haines and White Pass, those areas didn't see the same impact of those atmospheric river events last week and don't have a supportive crust to mountaintop. And that means that layers from earlier in the season, March layers and February layers, they can still be contributors to avalanche danger.
The Swiss consulate in Vancouver is now working with authorities while the deaths are being investigated by the BC Coroner's Service. A Vancouver Island midwife is off the job over a bureaucratic snafu. She was born in Scotland, holds a master's degree, but has been told she failed to prove she can speak English. The government's paperwork foul-up has not only affected her, but dozens of expecting parents. Penny Daflos has the story.
As the provincial government was proudly announcing how many healthcare workers they'd poached from the U.S.,
more than 400 healthcare professionals have accepted job offers.
Heather Gilchrist watched with deep frustration.
I've promised mothers and babies I'd be there for them, and it's just a terrible situation.
The veteran midwife came to Canada with a master's degree and spent 2 years getting certified by the BC College of Nurses and Midwives.
Placements and Canadian exams and registration and fees.
She began delivering babies in Victoria in September. Everything seemed fine until 2 weeks ago.
I finally received the very first correspondence from the IRCC, which was to say that I had had my permit refused.
Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada said Gilchrist hadn't submitted an English language test, so the Scottish-born woman did so that day. But the agency had taken so long to contact her, she may have to leave the country before reapplying.
Immigration is purely federal jurisdiction, but the Office for BC's Minister of Health tells CTV News they're working to provide support and see if there's a way to resolve this issue.
Because there's already a shortage of OBGYNs in BC, leading to some Metro Vancouver hospitals turning away patients in labor.
Healthcare for women in this province have never been worse.
And sending them elsewhere.
We just want to sincerely apologize for the disruption and the stress.
Immigration Canada tells CTV News there's a number to call for reconsideration and acknowledges it's improving its website so that applicants can actually attach their proof of language where the agency expects it. In the meantime, Gilchrist, her colleagues and patients are in limbo.
I want to stay. I'm happy here. I've worked incredibly hard to be here. And this isn't a reflection of how I feel about Canada. I just need somebody with sense to intervene and let me get back to my work.
If not, the bureaucratic snafu could mean BC will lose someone trained to deliver babies at a time we can ill afford to do so. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
One man has died after being hit by a vehicle in Delta this morning. Police say he was struck just after 7 a.m. in a crosswalk at the intersection of Sunwood Drive and 64th Avenue. Despite life-saving measures, the man was pronounced dead. Investigators say the driver remained at the scene and is cooperating with them. Anyone with information or dashcam video is asked to come forward. Now to the murder trial for the man accused of stabbing Paul Schmidt to death outside a downtown Vancouver Starbucks. Today, the Crown pressed a psychiatrist about reports the suspect could be vague and inconsistent about his mental health symptoms when it suited him. CTV's Ben Milger has more from BC Supreme Court and a warning some viewers may find the details in this story disturbing.
The psychiatrist, called as an expert witness by the defense, has been under cross-examination for several days as the Crown continues to highlight inconsistencies in the accused's statements about his mental health and when he stopped taking his medications.
Inderdeep Singh Gosal does not deny that he stabbed Paul Schmidt during a fight on a Starbucks patio in downtown Vancouver in March of 2023, but he has pleaded not guilty to the charge of second-degree murder. His lawyers say they'll be asking the judge for a finding of manslaughter. Establishing Gosal's mental health issues and struggles with paranoid delusions, hallucinations, and psychosis has been key for the defense. The Crown has sought to poke holes in the idea that Gosal was unaware of his actions in the moments when he fought with and stabbed Schmidt. Tuesday, while questioning Dr. Johan Brink, a forensic psychiatrist called by the defense, the Crown suggested Gosal had a history of being vague, atypical, and inconsistent about his mental health when it suited him. Brink conceded if that were true, it would be difficult to draw conclusions from Gosal's statements on which some of the doctor's opinion relies. That would create additional wrinkles in the narrative, he told the court. Gosal also told Brink and police he had not taken his antipsychotic meds for 3 months prior to the altercation, but told his sister he had only been off the meds for about 3 days.
The Crown has also brought up the issue of intoxication, repeatedly pointing to evidence suggesting Gosal drank as many as 7 beers at a Cactus Club before he went to the Starbucks. Gosal has said he only had 2. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
$1 billion, the steep ask from the Vancouver Park Board to help improve the sorry state of the city's rec centers, ice rinks and pools. That story just ahead. But first, let's take a look outside from Grouse Mountain. Some clouds sort of hanging over there, but I do see some breaks in the clouds. And we did see the sun burst out this afternoon.
Yeah, we're seeing lots of blue sky out there right now. Not from Grouse, but it is across the lower mainland. And warmer temperatures because the winds have shifted. We're looking at 12 degrees at the harbor as well as in White Rock, 14 degrees right now in the valley for Abbotsford and Chilliwack. You're looking at 11 degrees in Surrey. As we head through the overnight, we'll see overcast skies and tomorrow will be much like today. We'll start off with some rain. It dries up through the afternoon, sunny breaks and a high of 8.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
And it's looking dry as we head into the weekend as well. I've got those details coming up.
Yeah, nice to see the double digits popping up more often.
Yeah,
right?
Getting there. It is spring.
All right. Thanks, Anne. The Vancouver Park Board says the city's aging rec centers are in need of some serious and pricey repairs. So expensive that even the board won't divulge exactly how much money it needs, but admits the minimum is $1 billion. CTV's Martin McMahon has the details.
From the iconic Kitts Pool needing major repairs following leaking issues, to the Vancouver Aquatic Centre literally falling apart in recent years, there's a push for major upgrades to Park Board facilities.
The current plan is $550 million, but at this next special meeting, we are going to be asking for a substantial boost to that funding.
How much of a boost? Chair Tom Digby wouldn't explicitly confirm reports, but says on the low end, the board would need somewhere around $1 billion.
So I can't confirm or deny the $1 billion number. That is a number that has been floated and is being considered by commissioners. We'll see the motion when it comes out at the end of this week. But $1 billion represents clearly is the minimum.
This push for a major funding boost comes after Vancouver's Auditor General reported last year that 72% of the city's Park Board facilities were in poor or very very poor condition. We asked people about that whopping $1 billion figure.
Well, I think it's probably not unrealistic, the price, but I hope that it's value for money.
$1 billion gives me a bit of sticker shock, but I do like the idea of maintaining the parks and the facilities.
Services do need a lot of improvement, but $1 billion seems like an awful lot of money being asked. I would have thought something a little less would be more reasonable.
Nobody I spoke with seemed thrilled about that $1 billion price tag, but there seems to be a general acknowledgement that the park board's facilities are in need of a major upgrade. That special meeting is scheduled to take place in 2 weeks. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Alberta government is looking at expanding the types of intimate content people are banned from sharing without the other's consent. Officials say deep fakes can be very harmful, and they're calling for stronger protections. Deep fakes are videos, audio, or images created by artificial intelligence to show someone doing or saying something they didn't. Alberta's existing law, just like ours in BC, allows victims of non-consensual sharing of intimate images to sue for damages and seek injunctions to prevent further distribution. But the law is limited to pictures or videos of people who are nude, partially nude, or engaged in sexual activity. Officials now want to add deep fakes and audio recordings to the amended law. A local sexual assault center has been calling on the province to make these changes for years, but it still thinks more needs to be done.
We need to cover who the wrongdoers are, because it's original creators, but it's also those that may knowingly and recklessly share or amplify these images out in the public, or these voices out in the public. People who threaten to share, because that, again, is a threat that hangs over someone, and those who profit from that distribution. So we've seen that quite a bit with Pornhub, but there's other pay sites or advertisers that may benefit from this.
She's also calling for a better process to take down the media and de-index it quickly so that there's no further creation, distribution, or digital footprint that can harm the victim. Communication breakdown, why a warning system did not go off moments before the deadly Air Canada plane crash in New York. Also ahead.
It's just been really, really hard not being able to do what's right for my mom.
A medical nightmare for a BC tourist in China. The hospital bills are mounting for a woman who suffered a stroke. When CTV News at 6 continues, stay with us. A Vancouver woman is at her mother's bedside in China after the Burnaby senior suffered a stroke while traveling to visit family. The cost of getting her back to BC is astronomical. Here's CTV's Shannon Patterson with a daughter's quest to get her mom home and the financial devastation of traveling without medical insurance.
Lilia Avatova moved to Canada from China when she was a child and settled in Burnaby. Recently, the 78-year-old reconnected with extended family in her birth country.
And so this was supposed to be their last trip to come back and have that little last reunion with my mom's family. And right after they flew into China, my mom got sick.
On March 6th, Avutova had a stroke and was taken to hospital in the city of Kunming. Her daughter rushed to be by her side.
And it turned out that she had cerebral hemorrhage at the time. My mom is still in a coma. She still hasn't woken up.
As Lantine struggles with a language barrier to get medical information from Chinese doctors, she's facing the daunting task of paying for her mom's care.
In the ICU, it costs $1,000 a day, 1,000 Canadian dollars a day. That we've been paying.
Once she's stable, Lantine wants to fly her mom home to BC for ongoing treatment. But because of her cranial bleed, the cost is astronomical. She was quoted 108,000 Canadian dollars for medical staff to accompany Avatova on a commercial flight and 275,000 US for a private charter. It's money the family simply doesn't have.
It's just been really, really hard not being able to do what's right for my mom and help her come home.
Lantine had urged her parents to buy travel insurance for their trip to China, but they refused.
I wish I had insisted, but I don't know if it would have changed their mind, I'll be honest. When you deal with older people, significantly older folks, they're pretty insistent on their opinions.
A friend has started an online fundraiser to help the family cover daily medical expenses.
From what we've gathered, maybe in about a month or two, my mom should be well enough as far as the cranial bleeding goes. We're hoping that she'll be well enough to travel back home.
Lantine knows a medically assisted flight will be a huge financial hit, but she wants her mom back in Burnaby.
My mom's got 4 grandkids. They miss her. They love her. They can't wait to see her.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
A new course at UBC is putting women at the center of injury research as it looks to challenge how engineers think about safety.
The purpose of the course is to investigate the reasons that some safety equipment like seatbelts, airbags, helmets may not work or do not work as effectively for women as they do for men.
He's hoping this research will translate into real-world safety improvements. Central to the work is the Simon robot facility, where advanced robotic testing systems simulate vehicle crashes and human body responses under controlled conditions. Fortis BC is giving us a behind-the-scenes look at its gas odor testing lab, where a bad smell is actually a good thing.
In its natural state, natural gas has no smell, no color, no taste, and because of that, it can be very dangerous because you wouldn't be able to know if natural gas is present in a space where it shouldn't be. So to make it safe, we add a special odorant called mercaptan, which is that rotten egg, sulfur-like smell that people are familiar with.
Fortis BC has 73 odorizing stations across the province where mercaptan is injected into gas. Samples of odorized gas are then tested inside this lab to ensure the mercaptan levels are safe. Conflicting messages from the U.S. and Iran over whether talks to end the war have actually taken place. Also ahead.
You have to know where ground vehicles and aircraft are.
Troubling revelations about why the warning system was not triggered right before a rescue truck was hit by an Air Canada plane. And we'll have more on the pilots who died. That's ahead on CTV News at 6. There are more questions tonight in the wake of the deadly Air Canada crash in New York that killed 2 Canadian pilots and injured dozens. Among them, why did the fire truck not have a transponder to trigger a warning system? CTV's Adrian Gabriel has the latest on the investigation.
Canada Express Flight 8646 still strewn across LaGuardia Airport's runway 4. New details today on the tragic chain of events. The U.S. Port Authority fire truck that collided with the Air Canada Express passenger plane didn't have a tracking device on board to alert LaGuardia Airport's surface detection equipment of its location. We're also learning crucial details from the final moments recorded inside the cockpit as the Air Canada flight made its final descent.
At 54 seconds, the flight crew acknowledged that the airplane was 500 feet above the ground and on a stable approach. At 25 seconds, Truck 1 requested to cross runway 4 at taxiway Delta. At 20 seconds, the tower cleared Truck 1 and company to cross runway 4. At 9 seconds, the tower instructed Truck 1 to stop.
Stop, Truck 1, stop. Stop, Truck 1, stop. Truck 1, stop.
At least 10 calls to stop went unanswered as air traffic control watched the scene unfold in real time. The impact claiming the life of pilot Antoine Foray, who grew up southwest of Montreal. Foray's brother Cedric sharing this childhood photo on Facebook while writing in part, "Have a good flight, my brother. Oh yes, we've heard the phrase often, but this time it will be the last. You left us again. Too soon to say goodbye." At Seneca College campuses today, Canadian flags are at half-mast for co-pilot Mackenzie Gunther, who graduated with honors in aviation technology. Aviation experts believe the pilots may have saved the lives of dozens of passengers.
The crew, in my opinion, heroically did what they could to slow the aircraft down and to lessen the impact.
This comes as confirmation that 3 Canadian Transportation Safety Board inspectors arrived at the crash scene this morning to work in lockstep with their U.S. counterparts.
They are entitled to tour the wreckage. They also have access to most of the recorded information that will be collected during the investigation.
As for the flight data recorder, analysis on that is expected to begin today, with a transcript of the cockpit voice recorder released tomorrow. Adrian Goebel, CTV News, Queens, New York.
Turning to the war in the Middle East, where the U.S.-Israel war on Iran is approaching its 26th day as conflicting claims emerge over possible peace talks. An Iranian missile slammed into a street in central Tel Aviv earlier today, blowing out windows of an apartment building and injuring 4 people. In Tehran, Israeli strikes heavily damaged a residential building. Israel is also vowing to continue striking Lebanon, saying it's targeting infrastructure used by the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. All this as U.S. President Donald Trump touts productive talks with Iran, saying the two sides have already agreed on several points.
The other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. And who wouldn't if you were there? Look, their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone. They've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
But Iran is saying no talks with the U.S. have taken place, adding any claims to the contrary are aimed at influencing the financial and oil markets and distracting from the challenges facing the U.S. and Israel. Adding to the confusion are reports that the U.S. is sending an additional 3,000 troops to the Middle East. We'll show you why Parks Canada had to close down Rogers Pass for several days, what crews did to protect drivers, and NASA's plan for a permanent base on the moon, and the other plan being scrapped to make way for this ambitious project. Ahead on CTV News at 6.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. The CTV drone rising high above Horseshoe Bay in West Vancouver, looking at Seawolves Marina under a dark, overcast sky.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
NASA announced plans today to build a multi-billion-dollar base on the surface of the moon.
The moon base will not appear overnight. We will invest approximately $20 billion over the next 7 years and build it through dozens of missions, working together with commercial and international partners towards a deliberate and achievable plan.
The space agency says the base will support sustained operations on the lunar surface. It will be constructed using some of the components already built for a planned space station in the moon's orbit. But that project has now been canceled in favor of the base. The change is related to the Artemis mission, which will see astronauts return to the moon's surface for the first time in nearly 60 years. Canadian Jeremy Hansen will fly around the moon as part of that mission. Liftoff is scheduled for April the 1st. Parks Canada is sharing last week's avalanche control operation in Rogers Pass. More than 200 millimeters of precipitation fell on an already unstable snowpack. Crews triggering controlled avalanches by firing 271 artillery rounds and setting off 15 explosives. In total, more than 700 avalanches were detected, some powerful enough to destroy vehicles or small buildings. Road closures lasted nearly 3 days. And I know, and we reported on when they closed the roads and people had to change their travel plans, but you know, better to be safe than sorry and just get rid of that avalanche risk.
Yes, that's right. And most people just took a longer route for their spring break plans. And yes, hopefully they made it to where they needed to go safely. Today, not too bad at all. A little bit of everything. We started off with some rain this morning. Now we're seeing blue skies and sunshine out there. Still stormy for the interior. You do have a yellow wind warning in effect through midnight tonight from the southeast, gusting to 90 kilometers an hour. Also a winter storm warning for the central interior and the Peace River region. Anywhere between 10 to 25 centimeters of snow, limited visibility, blowing snow included in that, and factoring that wind chill, it'll feel like anywhere between a minus 15 to 20 for the central interior to a minus 25 to minus 30 with the wind chill for the Peace River region. And special weather statements in place in our neck of the woods as well for eastern Fraser Valley, as well as the Fraser Canyon and the Caribou region, and Coquitlam Highway, the Hope Princeton via Allison Pass, and the Okanagan Connector with winds gusting to 80 kilometers an hour through this evening. evening. Right now, we're seeing mostly cloudy skies across the lower mainland into tonight and the overnight hours. It'll be dry, but the rain returns tomorrow morning for your early morning commute. We'll see periods of rain through the afternoon as well before it dries up, clears up as well as we head into tomorrow evening. You'll see a mix of sun and cloud for parts of the southern interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Periods of rain for Port Hardy tomorrow with a high of 5. You'll see sunny breaks and 10 degrees for Campbell River and Comox. It'll be soggy for Tofino and Port Alberni, starting off wet from Nanaimo right down to Victoria. Mix of sun and cloud through the afternoon with temperatures between 8 and 10 degrees. Cloudy with showers and 7 degrees for the Sunshine Coast. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish. About 5 centimeters of snow expected for Whistler and 4 degrees. And across the lower mainland, we're looking at temperatures between 6 and 8. We will start off wet, but it does dry up through the afternoon. Sunny breaks for Thursday and Friday. Overcast skies for Saturday and Sunday with temperatures between 10 and 11. We will see some showers on Monday with sunny breaks and 10 degrees on Tuesday. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So much like today, umbrellas to start and then sunglasses in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's spring, right? You just need to pack everything.
Exactly. A bigger bag and layer up.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Anne. A warning about job ads on social media. Many are scams. One victim tells CTV what he lost. Also ahead.
In Toronto, we kind of stopped at around 60 stories for a long time, and now we're over 100.
106 stories to be exact. The tallest building in Canada is almost finished. We'll show you the super tall skyscraper rising above the clouds in Toronto. That's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 72 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up $4.22, closing the day at $92.35 US a barrel. Gold lost just over $5 on the day. The TSX up 57 points, while the Dow Jones was down 84 points. Agricultural land prices in Canada continued to climb last year, but some regions saw a larger increase than others. That's according to a new report by Farm Credit Canada. The value of Canadian farmland rose by an average of 9.3% in 2025. That increase was on par with 2024, but less than the 11.5% jump in 2023. Prairie provinces saw the biggest bumps last year, while we saw a decrease of nearly 2% here in BC. 9 super tall skyscrapers are set to transform Toronto's skyline over the coming years, and one has just become the tallest building in Canada, topping out at 106 stories or 352 meters.
In Toronto, we kind of stopped at around 60 stories for a long time, and now we're over 100. So it's having that vision, and with the city with still trying to battle transit and traffic, having more people live close to their workplace is really was the original goal.
Planning for the Pinnacle skyscraper began in 2012. A hotel will make up the first 12 floors, with a restaurant planned for the top floor. Residential units up to the 56th floor are expected to be ready this fall. With the rising cost of living, some people are looking for side hustles to try and make some extra money. But watch out for job scams. Offers are popping up on social media and in emails and texts, but a lot of them are fakes, costing victims to lose their personal information, along with thousands of dollars. CTV's Pat Foran reports.
Many people like watching movies, so does Abe Reese of Aurora. That's why he was excited to get a text message asking if he wanted a job as a movie reviewer.
They got in touch with me through text messages. It's reviewing films and rating them.
Reese says for about a month he watched and reviewed films. He was told he would be paid, but he needed to put in some of his own money first. He did, but grew concerned and contacted police.
They told me it was all a scam.
Reese was scammed out of $2,000.
I felt sad. I felt like, what am I going to do now?
We also did a story with Greg Burgos. He saw a job advertisement on TikTok and was scammed out of $11,000.
This is money that I was saving. This is money that I need.
Davinci Podar saw a job posting on Instagram. It was a fake, and she was scammed out of $15,000.
15,000 is not a small amount. It was all my savings.
We hate to hear about all of these job scams targeting these innocent job seekers.
Indeed is the world's largest job search website. It says criminals are targeting job seekers to steal their information and money. Some signs of a job scam: you receive a job offer you never applied for. There's no in-person interview required. You're offered high pay for easy work. You need to send money to earn money. There are vague job descriptions and unprofessional communication. When someone is looking for work, fraudsters will tell them what they want to hear.
We're going to pay you extremely well. You're going to have flexible hours. You're going to have every benefit you could ever imagine. But we're not going to give you much information about the job. Those are all big red flags.
Reese was trying to find extra income to help his family. If you're looking for work, do your research, check legitimate job boards and company websites. Never pay in advance for expenses or training, or give out your banking information. Pat Foran, CTV News.
A jury in New Mexico ruled today that Meta knowingly harmed children's mental health and concealed what it knew about child sexual exploitation on its social media platforms. The landmark decision comes after a nearly 7-week trial. The jurors sided with prosecutors who argued that Meta, which owns Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, prioritized profits over safety. Meta must pay $375 million in damages based on the number of violations. You don't just own the home, you own the whole island. Living Large, our new weekly real estate segment, is just ahead. Plus, Sharon's story. Adam finds out how a View Royal woman was inspired to befriend orangutans and take calico cats on sailing adventures. Next on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's a preview of your morning, Vancouver.
Are we any closer to seeing an end to the conflict in the Middle East? Wednesday on Your Morning Vancouver, we'll have the latest developments, and we watch to see if prices at the pump go down as predicted. And we'll show you what you can expect from this weekend's Vancouver Auto Show at the Vancouver Convention Centre. We'll see you in the morning.
K-pop kings BTS have smashed records with their new album Arirang, which was released on Friday. By Saturday, Spotify announced it was the platform's most streamed album in a single day in 2026. It's also the most streamed K-pop album ever. BTS has been on hiatus since 2022 as all 7 members completed South Korea's mandatory military service. This is their first album in 6 years. Major upgrades to Toronto's World Cup Stadium are complete with just 79 days to go until the city hosts the first match. Construction at BMO Field, which will simply be called Toronto Stadium for the tournament, began in December 2024 with nearly $158 million invested in FIFA-mandated upgrades. The pitch now features a hybrid stitched surface built to withstand back-to-back matches. Temporary seating has raised capacity from 28,000 to 45,000.
They've been designed by a company called Arena Group, which constructs this type of hospitality, temporary and permanent, around the world for global sporting events. I haven't been up there with fans jumping and stomping their feet yet, but I've been up there. It's a spectacular view, and it feels perfectly sturdy and safe.
Fans will also benefit from 4 new LED video boards and self-serve concession technology. Meanwhile, players will enjoy an expanded locker room. More work is planned before FIFA takes control of the venue on May the 12th. Vancouver is hosting 7 matches at BC Place, including at least 2 with Team Canada. And of course, the challenge is, can you get a ticket?
Yeah.
And can you afford a ticket, right? Not cheap. Okay, well, it's time for Living Large, our new weekly segment showcasing dream homes across BC and what it would cost to call them your own.
That's right. Tonight, we're kicking things up a notch, touring some of the most beautiful private islands up for sale, where you don't just own the home, you own everything around it, too.
The secluded Twilight Island can be found roughly 50 kilometers from Vancouver, and it is listed for just under $1 million after dropping from the original asking price by a third. The half-acre property near Salt Spring Island features a cozy 900-square-foot home with 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a wood-burning fireplace, a large deck, and private beaches right outside your front door. Doesn't sound too bad at all.
Very nice. 1 bathroom. They don't want guests, I guess. Okay, well, this exclusive Whitestone Island estate on the Sunshine Coast is listed for $5.5 million. The 6-acre property features a custom-built home with panoramic views of the ocean, plus a private dock. It's just a 30-minute trip from downtown Vancouver by boat or seaplane.
Easy peasy. Last but certainly not least, Nielsen Island is listed for $10 million. The 21.5-acre private island near Tofino features a home with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, along with a guest cabin and stunning coastal views from every angle. There's also deepwater moorage with a wharf and plenty of lush forest trails to explore. Amazing.
Yeah, would you guys like to live on an island?
Yes, 100%.
I would pick any of the 3.
Exactly.
But I'd be a little worried about like running out of food. You'd have to have a big pantry.
Boat.
Seaplane it is.
Go catch a fish.
Fish everywhere around you.
True. I guess there are
seaweed.
Options. Okay, just before we get to the Sawatsky sign-off, Lauren's here with a look ahead to your late news.
Well, Mijang, we are keeping track, of course, of that windstorm set to hit the Fraser Valley, and it's already impacting Vancouver Island tonight. At last check, more than 50,000 customers on the island were without power right now. Trees toppling down on some roadways and even hitting some homes. And they help drivers see, but chances are you've also been blinded by them before. LED headlights are in the national spotlight, and it's all thanks to a push from politicians here in BC. We'll have details of a new federal review underway and how you can have your say ahead of election.
Yeah, it's especially bad when they're coming up a little hill and you're going down. Yeah, it's hard. It's an issue. All right, thanks a lot. Well, a senior on Vancouver Island has filled her 80 years with extraordinary adventures. Now she's turning one of her bucket list items into a children's book. Adam has more on the calico characters and the audacious author on tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
For as long as she can recall, Sharon Stevens Smith has been compelled to make lists.
Write everything down that you want to do in your life. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it is.
From childhood through to her early 20s, Sharon's list of life goals was relatively consistent.
Ride a motorcycle, go to Africa, work with the primates, and one day I'm going to write a children's book.
While she worked as a nurse for a few years before becoming a realtor for almost 40, Sharon always returned to her list. Like when she bought a motorcycle, sight unseen.
Didn't even have a license. Never even sat on a motorcycle.
Yet 3 weeks later, Sharon had taken lessons, earned her license, and rode from Vancouver Island to a major bike rally in South Dakota.
So it was very unusual to see a woman in those days, and the trucks and everything would go by me, and they'd give me the thumbs up. Like, there's a crazy woman on a bike.
Sharon crossed Africa off her list 3 times after returning to university as a mature student, partaking in archaeological digs, and inspiring a marriage proposal.
The chief wanted to buy me for 3 camels and 4 goats. I said, first of all, is that a good price or not before I commit?
As for studying primates, Sharon traveled to Borneo to do research with the world's leading ape expert and befriended a rescue orangutan named Herbie.
Oh, he was a real character. We had lots of fun.
Now, 20 years after crossing offshore sailing with calico cats off her list, the expedition has inspired the now 80-year-old to cross off, write a children's book, too.
You better get cracking here. You haven't got that many more years left. That's how I look at things.
But Sharon is also sharing Runty and Trudy's grand sailing adventure with the public, with the hope that publishing the true story will inspire readers of all ages to embrace the unfamiliar and live a courageous life.
We have one life. Let's make the best we can.
And no matter what's on your list, Sharon says, just commit to do it.
The great thing is once you check the list off and you think, okay, next.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, View Royal.
Wow.
Pretty impressive woman.
Yeah.
Do you guys do lists?
No.
I would live on a boat with calico cats, though.
Add that to your list.
Yeah,
you can
let's start doing a list. It's a good idea because it kind of holds you accountable to what you've written down.
I just want to go with her and do her list.
She can do all the work.
Yeah. It makes it a lot easier. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A spring storm rolling through Cox Bay and Tofino. A gorgeous shot. Thanks to Jeffrey for sending this one in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
That looks like a painting.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah. And remember that island? I'm thinking of that island right off Tofino. All right, thanks for joining us. Lauren's back here tonight at 11:30.
Good night.